So as you saw in the last video, we discovered what clutch is in the car. Unfortunately, ended up being a stock clutch, but we got a UniClutch for the car. So obviously we've got to get the transmission and the old stock clutch out of there. We're also going to be replacing the rear main seal while we're in there, just as preventative maintenance. I didn't see it leaking or anything, but it's smart to do it while you're in there. So we're going to get this transmission pulled out, get the old clutch out, take a look at it, and then we'll get the new clutch installed. Okay, and that's how you get a GT-R transmission out. Ended up requiring both of us to put hands on this and kind of walk it down on 2 jacks, so we weren't able to film a whole lot, but yeah, transmission's out. Here is our stock, not so good looking clutch. I think I might now know why it was converted to a push type. I believe they may have had an upgraded clutch in here before, because this is an Exity lightweight flywheel. It also has an Exity clutch disc. I cross-referenced the part number on that. Not a whole lot came up. I think it's an OEM replacement disc because it does have an OEM pressure plate. So kind of an interesting, weird hybrid setup here. My guess is at some point in this car's life, somebody put an Exity maybe a multi-plate clutch in it or something using this flywheel, and that's when it was converted to push type. And then maybe at some point again in this car's life, it needed a clutch and they didn't want to put an expensive clutch in it again or something. This is all just speculation, by the way. So they kept the lightweight flywheel, but then just put like an OEM Exity replacement clutch pressure plate and disc in it, is my guess. Now we've got to put in the new clutch, but I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. Okay, clutch parts and new rear main seal. So I'll be putting this in first. I also cleaned up the backing plate that goes on the back of the block between the back of the block and the transmission. So new rear main seal, then we'll put that backing plate on, then we'll get the flywheel on. I've already figured out which spacers I need to make the pressure plate springs or pressure plate finger height the exact same as the clutch that was in there. So my throwout bearing position, all that stuff should be exactly the same. Pedal travel and engagement should all feel like it did before, hopefully. Let's go do this rear main seal. Don't show that HKS box. Okay, rear main time. Not the most elegant way to get a bushing out, but it works. So this is our UniClutch Ultra flywheel for the RB, obviously. So this is a really nice, very light piece. You will notice it does not have a flywheel friction surface on it, and that is because, like I showed you guys before on the clutch, this is all modular and it has a built-in friction surface for the flywheel. So basically you use their adapter. We're gonna put some dowels in the flywheel and then we'll have some bolts, and this all bolts together. So first thing I gotta do is get these dowel pins put in here and then clean this up, and then we can go ahead and bolt this to the back of the motor. A little much on the Loctite, but that's okay. All right, UniClutch twin disc track clutch installed. Everything's good to go. Yeah. With the new clutch and flywheel now installed in the car, obviously you guys know what comes next, and that is putting the transmission back in the car. You can see here that I spent some time cleaning the crap out of this transmission because it was really dirty. But there's a couple things we need to do before we can put the transmission back in the car. So I've got a brand new Koyo release bearing here to go on our fork or throw out bearing, whatever you want to call it. I've got to clean this up a little bit more. I cleaned the heck out of it. It was really dirty too. Obviously, we've got to lubricate all these mounting points where it attaches to the trans and then install the new throw out bearing. So we got to do that. And then on the side of the transmission, I'll show you down here, right here where the slave cylinder mounts. This is where it used to mount when it was a pull type clutch. You relocate it to the front here, which obviously was already done on this car in its with its previous life in Japan. But whomever drilled these holes out didn't do a very good job of threading them. So when I pulled the slave cylinder off, some of the threads sort of were gummed up and kind of came out with. So I'm gonna knock out repairing those bolt holes first, then we'll throw in the clutch fork and release bearing, and then we will clean up this tubing. This is the ventilation tubing that routes onto the trans and connects to these ports here. I want to clean this up a little bit. It's sort of soft and broken down, and you can tell it was sort of weeping a little bit with the pressure buildup and the ventilation of the trans. So I want to clean that up, put new hose on there. And then the other thing we have, so right here, stock, these have some rubber vent tubes, or like rubber vent ducts, basically, that just vent heat and dust and stuff like that out from the bell housing. They were crumbling and falling apart on this trans. So when I cleaned it, they just sort of disintegrated. So luckily FedEx just showed up and dropped these off. These are new bell housing vent ducts that'll go right here. So I've got to get those installed as well. And that'll be the final thing before we can put the trans back in. So let's get going on putting doing these things I just mentioned, and then we can slap the trans in. All right, new OEM bell housing vent ducts was the last thing that we were needed to do. That was the last thing we needed to do before putting the trans back up in. So we are ready to go. The only other thing I've done to this transmission that I haven't shown you guys yet, you can see right here, I have the GK Tech shifter spring upgrade kit. So basically it just puts a higher tension spring inside of the shifter mechanism to give you a nice, like a better shifter feel. Anyways, we are ready to throw this bad boy back in the car. So last night we attempted to put the trans back up in the car using the sort of 2-jack method, which worked great for removing the trans. Obviously in that scenario, gravity is sort of in your favor. It was easy to get the trans, slid off the block and off the old clutch and down to the ground. It took a little bit of finagling to work it down on 2 jacks, but it wasn't horrible. But going back up is a little bit of a different story. Being able to get the trans at the right angle, you know, holding the trans, bracing the trans so it's not sort of rolling back and forth across two jacks, especially with the weight of the trans towards the back where the transfer case is. It's a little awkward to do it and feel like you're able to do it safely, but also get everything sort of lined up the way it needs to be, get the angle right, get the splines into the clutch correctly. And obviously I don't want to damage anything. I don't want either one of us to get hurt. And I, you know, don't want to damage the clutch or anything like that, or have to struggle any more than necessary, especially with how hot it is out here right now in the garage. So I went to Harbor Freight and picked up a little shorty transmission jack. So let's dive into the car and do it. I'm a long boy here. Sounded weird. Dude, this is like the best extension ever. I remember, I think I was working for Mitsubishi. They're badass. They're 1/2 inch to 3/8 impact extensions that are like ultra long, and they are perfect for getting to these bell housing bolts. I remember I bought them for doing something on the Evos. Got our new OEM transmission mount. Take the little thread nipple covers off. All right, next investment is a house with a minimum 4-car garage and a lift. Try out our new threaded holes here that we did. Success. For now, that concludes everything on the underneath side of the car. But since we've got the slave cylinder and everything hooked back up, I should be able to go press the clutch pedal and see how this clutch feels. Wow. That pedal feel is like freaking awesome. There's like hardly any effort. That feels crazy good. Man, I wish I could start the car right now and actually feel like what the engagement feels like. Cool. Well, that's exciting. I just noticed this thing is almost completely out of gas, which means the last time we drove it to the Cars and Coffee thing, we got home and it's like this far above E. But that's a good thing because we needed to run this out of race gas anyways, so we can put pump gas in it, which sounds like we're going backwards, but we're actually going forwards, which you'll find out about in a future video. I cannot get over how good this feels. It feels freaking awesome. Like it feels a little bit stiffer, or like there's a little bit more spring tension than the OEM clutch that was in here, but nowhere near as much as I would think for an aftermarket clutch. Sorry, this is going on like a tangent now because I'm having my ADHD thoughts here. I had a Clutch Masters FX 850 twin disc in my IS300 with the built 2J. And twin discs are usually have a softer engagement or a less firm engagement than a high clamping load single disc clutch, which is sort of one of the big benefits and draws to them, as well as the fact that it's multiple surfaces, so you have way more clamping load and they can handle more torque and horsepower. But having a pedal that feels reasonable is like a big selling point to a twin disc. Some of them, not all of them. This feels crazy. I feel like I'm just rambling because I'm like really excited about how good this clutch feels, but this feels awesome. But anyways, like I said, I wish I could start it and feel the engagement with everything actually running, but I can't start it right now because we've been simultaneously doing another project on the GT-R that you will find out about in the next episode. And it's a pretty sweet one. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got the bell for notifications turned on. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you tell your friends and you tell your mom because she's going to love it. That's really weird. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.